Did you know that the Apostle James, the brother of John and son of Zebedee, was not called James? His Greek name was Jacobos. Now, the Greek name Jacobos is just an Hellenization of the Hebrew name Yaakov. And Yaakov in Hebrew is a name that is not even a great name, to be honest, because it means literally the supplanter, the one that comes from behind and takes your place and trips you maliciously to take your place, the supplanter. Now, apart from this, this is the Greek name, which is basically a literal transliteration of the Hebrew Yaakov. How did we move from Yaakov to James? So the story is quite interesting. So we start from the Hebrew Yaakov and its Greek version Yaakobos. And then we should get to the English Jacob, right? That would be the simple, obvious transliteration of the Greek Jacobos, Jacob. And in fact, the son of Isaac in the Bible was called Yaakov, and in English is translated as Jacob. We have Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not James, right? Well, guess what? James' name, James, the apostle of Jesus, had exactly the same name of the son of Isaac, Yaakov. So why is that Jacob called Jacob and this Jacob called James? Well, the story gets even more complicated than this if we think that Jacob ended up being James in English, but if you think about, for example, Spanish, the poor Jacob turned out to be Santiago. And in Italian, poor Jacob turned out to be Giacomo. So, what's the name of this guy? Was it Jacob, Jacob, James, Santiago, Giacomo? What is that? Well, what happened was that from the Greek Jacobos, we got to the Latin of the Vulgate, which put it into Jacobus, or with the Latinization of the I into a J, that still would sound as a Y, Jacobus, but written as a J, which still is very much similar to the Greek Jacobus. Well, we need to go to the early French, where there was a change in the consonant from B sound to an M sound, so that Jacobus became Jacomus, or with the J sound, Giacomus. And you understand why in Italian it's called Giacomo. But in French became Gem or Gem, okay, like this, Gem. Well, from there, it was just a little leap to get to the English. You see, the je, the French je, gets the J in English, and you get the James. You see the very similarity between the two. So, very long way to get to a English version of a name that at the end of the story doesn't sound at all as the original name. Well, what about Santiago, you may ask? Why in Spanish do they know James as Santiago? Well, Santiago, let's write it here, is just a combination of Saint, Iago. And where does Iago comes from? Well, Iago is a shortening of Jacobus, is Jaco that became Iago, right? So Iago is the shortening of Jacob, and then they put saint in front because it was a saint, so it became Saint Iago, so Santiago. There you have it.